I feel like I just wasted my time.
This degree that I spent 4 years trying to get was a waste of money.
I literally need to make money, so...
Are degrees still worth it? That's unfortunately the question that so many people across the US are asking right now. Degrees mean potentially hundreds of thousands to even some cases in the millions of student debt, and they mean a lot of dedication. A lot of new graduates are being faced with the reality that a master's degree, the step up from what is really required, is actually the minimum now. And so many employers are just not accepting only bachelor's degrees now. And the reality for so many people is that after all that, you still won't be able to get a job and even hope to pay that all back. I've compiled a ton of videos here that just show how bad this degree situation is. So as always, let me know what you think in the comments below.
I'm in debt. I'm in a lot of debt. I'm sick and tired of being in debt. But I'm also sick and tired of working to get out of debt. But I'm trying to get out of debt. But it's taking forever.
This is a truth for a lot of people right now, especially fresh out of their degrees, where they can't even catch up to their debt or get a job to start paying it off. And this is especially true where after you finish that degree, if you don't have parents to move in with or something, your goal is to kickstart your adult life. And a lot of people have to wait years to do that just because of their student loans. So many people spend so much of their lives just paying back student loans, and some people even need to put major life milestones on hold just to deal with that student debt. The other issue with student loans is just the immense amount of interest some of them have, which means that you can't even pay it off without the amount just constantly, and that interest compounds. Most of the people who spend well over a decade paying back their loans have really just been paying interest most of the time. And you can see that right here.
I have paid $15,000 towards my student loans since I graduated in 2018. So the past 6 years, I have put $15,000 towards my student loans. So you want to know what my balance is now? My balance is still around $15,500. So that means I have spent $15,000 over the past 6 years for my balance to only go down by like $1,500. That means I have spent $13,500 roughly to just interest. I have been paying them back. I've been making my payments every single month, but the interest makes it impossible for you to be able to actually pay down your principal balance so you can pay them off one day.
And honestly, this is such a difficult situation. So she's basically paid off the amount of her student loan, but in interest, so her loan amount has doubled. And that's not counting the interest she's still going to collect and have to pay off in the future. And you might think that, getting a high-paying job will be enough, or that if she saves more money, it'll be enough. But seeing the crazy cost of living and prices of homes that we're facing in 2025, it seems pretty impossible to save such a big amount quickly if you don't have support or a crazy high-paying job. And something else that's really making student loans harder for people to face is the lack of financial literacy nowadays. People aren't taught what it really means to have interest, or a private loan, or anything to do with credit cards and paying off debts in general. When you take out a loan, that interest is compounding basically every day you have that loan. And unless you can dump the full amount of the loan all at once and be done with it, that debt will continue to compound interest and you'll be stuck paying significantly more than you owed. And that's when you get situations like this.
I'm about $180,000 in debt from both federal and private student loans, my car loan, credit cards. I have a bachelor degree, so not even a master's. I have one minor, no focus in my major, as well as an honors degree, which did require some extra credits. I took out loans as I needed them each year for college, and I didn't really think about what the percentages meant because I was never taught financial literacy. Sally Mae, which is my private loan creditor, wants $1,800 a month from me. So this is also like the debt I have, and I was working full time. I can make the bare minimum right now, and I know that I could make more if I need to. Despite going on this trip in April, we don't need to talk about that. I'm still making choices, but I want to find out a way that I can get out of debt. I'm trying to find all these extra ways to make money. I'm gonna keep probably eventually in the future apply to jobs, but it's just, this is the reality of it.
This person's debt story is pretty crazy. Having near 200 grand in student loan debt seems like a nightmare, let alone that she says she was working full-time and studying full-time. And seeing her story, she got really lucky to find a full-time job that didn't require a degree and accepted her application. We can also take a look at some of the comments here because a lot of them have some pretty good points as well. This person here said, "So I should stick to a cheap school. I want to go to a prominent university, but it's going to be a much higher tuition." Another person here asked if student loans qualify for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but the problem with student loans is that they basically never go away. Bankruptcy affects other types of loans, but Student loans are basically like the glue of the loan world. Another person here said that the way to do it is to live on rice and beans, sell all your extras, including your car, buy a beater, cancel your trip, and this is all basically the struggle you need to undergo just to actually get the degree, but this woman didn't even get a job that required her degree anyways. Another comment here says, I started at $110,000 when I graduated undergrad. It's not as uncommon as people think. And for that not to be uncommon is just crazy. $110,000 and close to $200,000 in debt is more money than people make in years of working. But one thing I wanted to note about this story are that the person here says that she didn't get taught financial literacy, didn't know what the interest percentages were, and also she had a full-time job, left it, took 2 part-time jobs, and still took an expensive trip knowing she couldn't afford the loan payments of $1,800 a month. I understand that life can be stressful and it's very important to take care of your mental health, but it's important to also understand that loans are loans. They have to be repaid, and especially when you're dealing with these private lenders that may have interest rates of 10% or something crazy like that, you can't pretend it's not there. There's priorities that need to be made. Also, this is why it's important to be educated on what interest is and what it means to take out loans. Before I start this next clip, I want to talk about something real quick here. You will hear a lot of people saying that some degrees are more valuable than others, some degrees guarantee jobs, yada yada yada. Okay, let me put some context here. I have a degree in finance. However, I am saying to you all that just because you have a degree in finance or business or STEM or whatever, that does not mean you are guaranteed a job. And just because you have a degree in arts or whatever, that does not mean you are not guaranteed a job. I know engineers who have good engineering degrees from good schools that have to work minimum wage because nobody's hiring. I also know people who have arts degrees that are getting jobs and starting their own businesses. I just really wish this whole idea of STEM being the only valuable degree type would be dispelled already, because currently some of the most unemployed degrees are things like comp sci and the like. So STEM. Anyways, onto the clip.
I'm literally holding resumes, a stack of them, so that I can go in person to places and say, are you guys hiring? It's honestly a little bit embarrassing because I'm literally applying for like minimum wage jobs, and some of them are being like, we're not hiring, and it's like, what? This is not what I expected. I graduated college with 2 degrees in communications and acting. I speak 3 languages. Oh, this sucks.
And a lot of people will see this and say that she shouldn't have studied something like communications. But it's unbelievable that nowadays, any sort of degree can't even get you close to a job. A lot of graduates can't even get minimum wage jobs working at a grocery store or as a server or barista, let alone a full-time job that they have tens of thousands in debt trying to work toward. These people with degrees were promised futures with high-paying salaries. And unfortunately, if you don't have any sort of connection to someone in a job, it just seems like you're stuck. And in the comments of these videos, you always see people say, apply to be a flight attendant, go to the Marines, even though these graduates spent many years of their life and took out many loans so they could get other options than that. It's crazy. You see here in the comments, I'm completely bilingual with a master's degree, and the only job that called me back is a bubble tea store, and that's what I do for work now. So even those extra qualifications are just not enough now. There was a point in time once where having a degree meant something, but nowadays it's just not like that. And again, some people might say that STEM would have been more valuable, but not everybody wants to do STEM. Not everybody wants to deal with STEM, and I definitely don't think everyone should be in STEM. It's not logical and it makes no sense. And it's insane how hard it is to find a job just because you don't have experience that you can't get because you can't get a job. It's ridiculous, honestly.
Tell me why I went to a fashion business school, here's my degree, and I cannot even get a job that makes more than $17 an hour. I work for big brands, like I have experience working for luxury brands. I have multiple internships under my belt, and literally none of these places are hiring. Every single day doing hundreds of applications. This degree that I spent 4 years trying to get was a waste of money.
Here's another video that just shows how bad it's gotten out there for finding jobs. This woman has a degree in fashion business and has experience working in companies like luxury brands. So you'd think that that would be enough to actually find a job after graduating. Like this commenter says, in the fashion world, nepotism runs deep, so if you have no connections, you're done for. This is definitely true in these spaces. But it also seems like even outside of fashion and the creative industry, we're finding more and more evidence of this. Lots of people who are graduating these days with degrees in finance or engineering need to get connections in order to find jobs. And most people who apply to tons of jobs only get one through a connection or a recommendation or a relative. The harsh reality is that if there's 2 people applying for a job and one has a connection to the company and the other has experience, the guy with the connection is more likely to get the job.
So 60% of last year's college graduates have still not landed an entry-level role. The problem now is that even bullshit jobs are hard to find. They've made bullshit jobs very hard to apply for. Like, you have to fill out this crazy application for minimum wage. And, you know, you hear about people all the time on this app that are applying to food service jobs. They're college graduates. They're applying for food service, and they're not even getting a call back. Offshoring has moved a lot of jobs overseas that a lot of entry-level college graduates would normally get. Plus, because of how AI is going to evolve the workplace, and it will impact the workplace. And the problem is, we are not 100% sure how. So I have empathy for all these people that did everything right, listened to us, and are really struggling right now, post-graduation, to find jobs. It is tough.
And this is one of the best takes I've seen on this matter because the job market has just become so difficult to approach. There's offshoring jobs to other countries, there's AI and people's unrealistic expectations of its capabilities, and there's 100 other things that are just making it so hard for someone who did everything right to get the job they worked for. And there are a lot of stories like this in the comments. A lot of the student jobs at my university that are offering less than minimum wage require a cover letter and resume, as well as letters of recommendation. A bunch of us who graduated our master's in social work program couldn't find jobs for so long. And in our program, we had 2 years of work internships. I have a 5-year professional architecture degree from USC. I interned every summer. I've been applying to jobs since January, graduated in May, and still unemployed. I'm getting auto-rejected from furniture stores. And this matter with the job market isn't just something reaching younger people. Try being in your 50s laid off with loads of experience and bills to pay, as well as raising a family and all the expenses that come with that. So people with even decades of experience can't even get minimum wage jobs these days. And the recent trend that's been happening to a lot of graduates is that their experience has actually made them get rejected for job applications. And there's just so many videos I found on this topic too. Just got rejected from my 50th retail job application while having a master's. Got denied from a part-time retail job while having a bachelor's degree. Just got denied at a mall cashier job despite having a bachelor's and 10 years of experience. And I saw so many more videos of this. People with master's degrees, people with bachelor's in STEM, it's just never ending. And really, the issue with this is that because these individuals can't get jobs in their degrees, they turn to retail, which they are just too overqualified for.
I got denied fast food when I have a bachelor's in science. I'll tell you why, as someone who helps hire people. You're simply overqualified. If you want a entry-level job, take it out of your resume. I don't recommend we hire people that have crazy degrees and things because we're just a stepping stone and we're looking for someone who's going to be here for a long time. Whether you want a job that you're going to be there for a long time or not, take it out of your resume, okay?
And this is exactly the thing that a lot of graduates who can't get jobs in their own fields are doing. They remove their degree from their resume in hopes of being able to get any sort of job. And in the comments here, my mom's friend had a PhD and other degrees and was working at Home Depot, but they found out about his degrees during a background check and let him go even though he was a good employee. So really, there's no chance of getting a job in your field or outside of it with degrees.
In my early 20s, I wish I had someone tell me this. If you're about to graduate college and you're panicking because you don't have a job lined up or an internship or you don't know what you're gonna do, this is for you. My biggest suggestion would be to move home if you can. If your parents are okay with that, if you have the situation with your family where you can move home, I would do that. The next thing I would do is while you're at home, get a job. It doesn't matter where the job is, what it is, even if it's not your dream career path, just get a job so that you can make some money. And when you're not working, go travel to different places that your friends are living or that you want to maybe move to so that you can kind of look and see where you want to move. While you're living at home, if you can also save money to go travel to another country if that's something that you didn't have the opportunity to do while you were in school.
Okay, for this video, I do think she's coming from a good place of genuinely wanting to help, but there are some points that I do have some comments about. She made a good point with, if you're fortunate and have parents that you can live with while you sort your life, try and do that, which ideally in any market you shouldn't need to. I mean, I remember the joke of a bum used to be someone who lives in his mom's basement, but it's just such a common situation now that it's normal when you see someone in their mid to late 20s still living with their parents. What bothers me with this video though is that after that she starts saying, just get a job, even if it's not in your career path, which again, solid advice in concept, but it really doesn't work like that. Getting a job in retail and restaurants is even harder these days than getting a job in your degree. Then she starts talking about traveling the world and going to different expensive places to see your friends in New York City and Los Angeles, which frankly, if you don't have the money in general, I'm not sure how you could even dream of just booking plane tickets all over the US and staying in hotels and all. I think videos like this that come from more fortunate positions just sort of give false hope when even if you go to different cities, you probably still won't find a job. And if you don't have the money for rent in your area, you definitely won't have it in Los Angeles, or have the money to put a down payment on a house in an area if you end up finding a job. It just doesn't make sense all in all. Something else that's been causing a struggle for people fresh out of degrees is the demands that employers make before actually giving the job. There have been a lot of horror stories where employers will require their employees to complete a project for them to demonstrate their capabilities, when in reality the employee will just be doing free work without even getting the job. And there's no true path to figuring out what degree is right. People always say that degrees like law, engineering, business, and STEM are the path to getting jobs, but as you're about to see in this next clip, this woman has a first-class law degree and a master's from 2 very reputable schools and still can't really land a job. And law is an extremely difficult degree that should, in theory, provide a high-paying job. Like someone in the comments here said, doing a law degree in the UK is so pointless, I don't know why people haven't figured this out. Or another person here who said, law is an evil field. Go into STEM. I'm not sure what the legal world is like in the UK, but what I do know is that at least in the US, it's pretty known that getting a law degree is one of the best degrees, and that a lot of people aspire to become lawyers or experts in law because it's a high-paying field. I like this comment here where this person says, everyone saying there's no law jobs and that a law degree is useless is insane. All degrees are good. Education is a good thing. The issue isn't a lack of law-related law jobs, it's the lack of jobs overall. All students can't find jobs in their fields. I honestly agree 100% because it just feels like those so-called safe and good degrees that everyone wanted while I was growing up are just not turning out to be what we were told they'd be. Plus, that's not to mention how much student loan debt you're going to rack up usually from pursuing a professional degree like law or medicine. So you'll basically be working most of your adult life just paying those off while trying to maintain a lifestyle at the same time. I kind of want to end off on this video just to show how conflicting recommendations and advice from people can be.
A realization I've had to come to terms with is that I went to school, worked full time, and got a full 4-year bachelor's degree, and it ain't do nothing. I feel like I just wasted my time. I feel like if you're not going to do anything like medical related or law or human resources, and even then, what's the point?
So in this video, which is just a common feeling among so many graduates nowadays, this woman is saying that she regrets putting all that work into her 4-year degree for it to end up giving her nothing. She then says that if you don't go into something like medical or law, your degree is useless. And I just thought that was funny given how all the people in the last video were dissing on law. It just really seems like any sort of degree is impossible to grow and progress in these days and will just saddle you with debts and loans. And growing up, you're always told that a degree is your path to a high-paying job and a stable life, and that's how it used to be for most, but it just doesn't seem to hold that significance anymore. What are your thoughts though? Are degrees still worth getting in this day and age? And that'll be it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be sure to know when I post a new video. I do a ton of reaction content about the financial and living situation in the modern day, so make sure to follow if you enjoy that type of content. If you've had a difficult or good experience with your degree or know someone else's story and would like to share, let me know in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.